22 bips and you're going to pay a guy 6%, those are Shylock rates.
Right, barely a quarter of a point.
Right, banks paying barely a quarter of a point for overnight loans. They're going to pay Warren Buffett 6%. They needed his good housekeeping seal of approval. They needed to show everybody.
Well, they got it. They got it, right?
They got it, and what Buffett got essentially is a 6% government bond, because no one is going to let Bank of America go out of business, and he got a 10-year free ride on the stock. Great deal for him. I don't know how great a deal it is for the shareholders, and I think Bank of America stock, even though it was up today, I think we're going to ultimately see lower lows.
And it was an appreciable run-up today, Jonas, but it was halved by day's end. And some of the other issues in the financial sector that were up as well, some of them finished down.
That is true. It was helping all financial stocks for a little while, and then it stopped. A 10% move in a stock that is down 50% in 6 months is good, and that's really what this deal was offering. That's why I think it's good for both parties. But Buffett did get a great deal, no question about it, as he usually does. But this bank is facing a psychological problem. People think it's on the path to failure, and they're trying to get ahead of it, unlike, Lehman and all how that went down. They're just trying to show everybody, look, big money's coming in early. We can raise money. You theoretically can buy more stock, and that we're not going to go broke. And that, even though it's cost
but they didn't buy, so this is a whole new investment creation. This isn't like buying just general Bank of America stock.
No, and in fact, you can't really duplicate this sort of a deal other than buying Berkshire Hathaway stock, which would probably be the safer, smarter play, because it was such a great deal. It came with this freebie where you could buy the stock at around a little over 7 for 10 years. That alone is worth about $2 billion if it was an option, roughly.
So I have serious concerns. Francis, to you.
Yes, Neil, always. Let's talk about the financial hurricane. Here's the deal. I think that Warren Buffett and I think that Bank of America are being incredibly anticipatory. I think they see another wave of deflation looking at the bigger picture, and I think Buffett is a great source of liquidity, and I think that they're acting accordingly.
So, Francis, the fact that not all the financial issues kept up with Bank of America today, and that the market itself gave up more than 170 points today, I'm beginning to think if the Oracle can't get them buying, they've obviously placed their bets on helicopter Ben Bernanke tomorrow. What if he disappoints? Then what?
Well, I think we have a severe liquidity crisis and another wave of deflation ahead if Ben Bernanke disappoints tomorrow, and that is really what I'm watching. The problem is that when you have deflation, you have consumer default, and that affects the banks, and I think Bank of America is scared, and I think that it's getting harder and harder for the Fed to keep up with the stimulus because the private sector is still extremely weak, and of course that's being, the system is completely connected with jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and they see problems ahead, and they're acting accordingly, and they got to Buffett first. Good for them.
He is the good housekeeping seal of approval, I guess, Tika, but you have longer-term concerns just for the banking sector, for this market in general, right?
I do. I'm generally bearish. I think you're going to see us roll over. There's a very good chance that we do have a recession next year. And again, Neil, I want to point to the Goldman Sachs deal that was done in 2008. Buffett steps in, white knights for, I think it's $5 or $10 billion, gets 10%. Stock goes from 125 to 138 that week, and then 90 days later, it drops down to $47. So I would just like to urge anybody.
Look at the upside with Bank of America. There isn't that much to get to zero.
50% drop, 50% drop. I mean, again, I would urge folks thinking about, oh, I'm going to coattail Buffett here, think twice about that decision. Buffett has complete protection. It doesn't matter if his warrants are ever worth anything at all. He's going to get his 6% from now until the end of time.
See, that's where I would have been a bigger buyer of this and a believer in this if he just bought stock like every other Joe and Joanne.
He's owned this stock before and he got rid of it because that's not as good as an investment. That has risks. If we get deflation, if home prices continue to go down, which
he's covered. You and I aren't covered the same way.
The banks will fail, but he's going to be covered. So
exactly.
The safe way is to buy the Berkshire.
So do you find Warren Buffett inherently
evil? He's thinking ahead.
I think he's gotten so big that he has to act opportunistically to place that kind of money. And so doing, he's the modern day JP Morgan. He bails out.
All right. So he's not evil. All right. So Francis, what now? I mean, the markets tomorrow. Ben Bernanke, all eyes on what he's going to say in Wyoming tomorrow. About the only area that's not affected by Hurricane Irene, I might point out. What do you make of what he'll have to say?
Well, what's interesting is so far we've followed an exact replication of the Great Depression cycle. The market went up between 1932 to 1937 in 5 years. We have a binary regression, so it's 2.5 years. We're at that point. We're at the make it or break it point. I'm watching Ben Bernanke to keep liquidity in our system, especially since now we're cutting spending.
Well,
That's the big thing.
What can he do? Francis, what can he do? I mean, it's like he's the guy with the monkey in the organ grinder. I mean, what can he do?
That's right. All he can do is more stimulus, which kicks the can down the road. And that is exactly the catch-22 that we are in.
Tika, that's
and
a
that
word.
is exactly
I don't know what he can do. He's run out of ammo.
I don't think he's going to do that now. It's just 2 weeks since we've had the FOMC rate decision when he said he was.
So what does he say? If he tells him I'd have no pudding for you.
I think he's just going to basically repeat what he said 2 weeks ago and say that he's going to
sell on that. They're going to sell on that.
Watch the sell-off. Watch the sell-off.
What do you think?
I don't think we've fully seen what he can do if he really thinks we're going into a depression. This is the #1 depression fighter you could have as a head of the Federal Reserve.
No matter how many times I see, and I love you to death,
You
he
can't
is
fight a
odds
depression
behind a
with debt.
curtain, and everyone's on to him. He's just an old dude behind the curtain.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay, I have no idea if that's true. Anyway, Irene is tilting west. That's what I know for sure.